Live from the KATC TV3 studios, this is Acadiana's News Channel at 5.
Thanks for joining us for the news at 5 tonight. I'm Jim Hummel. Day one in a double first-degree murder trial in St. Landry Parish. The defendant in the case is the son of the former Opelousas police chief. Marcel joins us live in Opelousas after spending the day in court with a recap of day one. Marcel?
Jim, testimony still happening here in the St. Landry Parish Annex building at the courthouse here, as this is day one of testimony. So far, we've heard from 4 witnesses from the state, one of them being a crime scene investigator. A tough day for family and friends of both victims involved in this case, as pictures from the scene were showed to the jury today. Now, this case involves a double murder that happened in 2016. It was September of that year when 2 bodies were found off of Kose Road in rural St. Landry Parish near the town of Washington. The victims, 19-year-old Nakia Romar Jr. and 21-year-old Sean Parrish, were found shot to death with later what was learned to be an AK-47. The state says this case is largely going to come down to cell phone records. In opening statements, the prosecution pointed out their tech expert will prove that repeated calls and texts between the defendant and one of the victims. They also pointed to alleged statements made by the defendant after the shooting. Now, there are over 40 witnesses to be called as a part of this trial. Both the prosecution and the defense say many of the statements from a number of the witnesses who had some knowledge of the September night in 2016 will contradict, they say, because of drug use. Now, the defense says no witness will say that the defendant, Jamarcus McClendon, was at the scene of the crime. In opening statements, the defense also says the deputy who handled the case early on didn't arrest the owner of that AK-47. Now, that owner of that gun isn't charged in this case, but the defense says that's the only person whose DNA was found on that weapon after the shooting. The defense also says the deputy said he had known that gun owner all of his life. The defense calling this case one that is built on a house of cards. Now, the defendant, Jamarcus McClendon, is the son of former Opelousas Police Chief Martin McClendon. He's facing 2 counts of first-degree murder. The charge of first-degree murder in this case based on 2 of 12 factors in Louisiana law. The first, intent. The second, the fact that it involved the sale or distribution of drugs. Now, again, testimony continuing here in Opelousas in the courtroom at this hour. I'll head back in and bring you more coming up on Acadiana's News Channel at 6. Live in Opelousas, Marcel Fontenot. Jim, back to you.
St. Landry Parish.